So let's get started. Here's our first topic. There's a new book out in Australia teaching kids about where babies come from. It can be found in the children's book section and has parents divided if it's appropriate or not. We can't even show you the pictures because this is a daytime show. But inside the book are images like a couple laying on top of each other and a woman giving birth. What do you think of this blunt approach to teaching kids about reproduction?
Doc, you got kids.
Yeah, you know, there is a phrase that we use called overexposed and underprepared. So children have to be prepared to be exposed.
Yeah.
Just because something is sex positive doesn't mean that it's not graphic. And I looked at this book. And I would not show this to a 4-year-old. That being said, there are some guidelines to follow for parents in a sexual conversation. So from 3 to 5, you start with body parts.
Sure.
This is your penis. This is your vagina. Good touch, bad touch. From 5 to 8, you'll start with post-conception. Mommy's got a baby in the oven, and when it comes out, it's gonna ruin your life. I mean, I don't know, it's a bad conversation, what you like. Then from 8 to 11 is where you'll talk about the mechanics. That's where this book falls into.
Really?
8 and 11. So that's not really a children's book. That's more like a preteen book.
I'm kind of like split on it because I'm from the South, and you know, the way I was raised, I just don't know at what point, you know, mommy and daddy just, you know, loved each other. We created you out of love. And when you're old enough, we'll talk more about it. Like, when did that phrase, like, not become sufficient? And yes, I'm not a parent yet, but I just think, let kids be kids, man. You understand what I'm saying? Like, just let kids be kids.
Yeah.
I think kids, and I'm just going back to when I was a child, I remember 7 or 8, I was curious. Not in terms of I'm attracted to someone, but I was curious about parts.
Sure.
I was curious about when I took a bath and my mom gave me a bath and she would, and what she would say to me. I was very just a curious kid by nature, hence being a journalist. So I think that's the time when you start talking about it. My mother waited till I was 18 years old to give me the talk. Now, mind you, you already know by 18, I had already kissed a boy. I was like, well, what is this talk and why are you sounding like that?
Yeah.
You know, and it was, and I think sometimes, especially Americans, we get so afraid to have the conversation about sex and reproduction with our kids, especially the way I grew up. I was so naive, I thought that as soon as you had sex, you got a baby, because my cousins was having babies and everybody was having babies really young. And I'm like, I just feel like my parents did me a disservice. And eventually,
I tried to do my daughters a disservice.
You tried?
Yeah, that's what I tried to do. As soon as you have sex, you're gonna have a baby.
You're right.
If you don't want no baby, stay away from them damn boys. I tried it.
But we need to talk about it so it's not so
But you know,
weird.
but like the doctor's saying, a children's book is 4.
Sure, I think
At
that's
4, we're not having this conversation.
Sure, no way.
Because you can be exposed to something too early.
Right.
But do you point out their body parts at 4?
I mean,
Yes.
yes, but there's language catered to that as well. I mean, this particular book, we got to see it. I mean, it's doing the most.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say vagina
You know,
to my 4-year-old.
well, I mean, I just think that there's a way to have certain conversations, but I believe that kids need to be kids, because then you have these children going to preschool or kindergarten, whatever, showing off their parts, because kids are inquisitive, you know, and so now you're putting my children into a conversation that I don't want them to have right now.
It's an ongoing conversation as well.
Right.
And research bears out the earlier a child is exposed to sexual content, the sooner they have sex.
Really?
So
Because,
research after research
Period.
bears that out.
So if they know what their body parts are, they want to have sex sooner?
No. That's different than being exposed at an inappropriate age.
Right.
So,
Pictures.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Diagrams.
Right.
Sure.
You know, you can't do that to a child. We ain't got to talk about 2 people getting together making babies.
Right, and I'm not saying, you know, the stork dropped you off, or, you know, have those.
Yeah, see, we can have that.
Yeah.
That's the conversation you want to have.
Oh, we
you
had
wanna
that
have that?
conversation.
The Cabbage
Oh, we
Patch
the
Kids?
Santa Claus, all that. Yeah, hell yeah. 2 fairies coming to the house, yeah, well, all that.
Well,
Man,
I'm
it's
here
cool
for
to have
that.
that little fake little make-believe in your life.
Yeah.
Because then it teaches you a valuable lesson later on when you find out that Santa Claus really ain't real. And you go, okay, so there's a game to this. And it gets played all your life. And so I was okay with that. But I think like what you're saying, that book for a 4-year-old? Absolutely not.
Yeah, no. Let them be whimsical for a while, man. Like, I mean, as an adult, I want to go back into the uterus. Like, this adulting thing is hard. Like, you got rent, you know, bills.
Go back to the uterus.
responsibilities.
Yeah.
I don't like
I'll
that.
dive in there.